Let's do a self-exploration meditation on Atma Nirvriti, chapter 15. Keval Gyan, only knowledge. Let's sit comfortably. Let's close our eyes. Let's remind ourselves about what Atmananda said in chapter 15. He said that all experience and knowledge is within me. Let's take our attention to what is experience. We all went to bed last night. We all entered into the dream state. Let's assume that you had a hurtful dream in which a family member said harsh words to you and you were feeling hurt. Ask yourself the question, who was feeling hurt? Do you realize that it was the dream subject who was feeling hurt? Do you realize that you, the dreamer, were not hurt? You were only knowing the entire scene in which there was a dream character that was hurt because of the situation in the dream world. You were only knowing it. You were not experiencing it. You were only knowing it. When the waker wakes up from such a dream, he says, I experienced hurtful feelings in my dream last night. Examine if this is true. Was the waker hurt? No, the waker was not hurt. Was the dreamer hurt? No, the dreamer was only knowing what was happening. The dreamer was not experiencing. Isn't it simply a belief that I experienced hurt in my dream? Let's examine the reality of the dream. In reality, there was an image of a dream character. In reality, there was an image of the family member of the dream character. In reality, there was an image of some harsh words. In reality, there were images of dream thoughts and images of dream feelings. All these images arose, played, and disappeared. There was always a single image at a time. Only a single image at a time. Every single image dissolved into nothingness. The entire dream dissolved into nothingness. The entire dream disappeared into deep sleep. In this case, the dream is completely wiped off, is totally forgotten. There are no remnants of the dream. What wiped off this dream completely from memory? Why did you forget about the dream? Why didn't the dreamer carry the hurt despite knowing that he was dreaming? The reason is the non-indulgence of the dreamer, the letting go of the dreamer. If something like this happens in the waking state, why does the waker carry the hurt? Why doesn't the waker forget the hurt? Just like when he was the dreamer, he forgot the dream that hurt. What is the difference? There is something that a dreamer does differently than the waker with respect to the contents of an event. What is that? A dreamer is only knowing. But that is not what the waker is doing. A waker gets into the feverishness of story making. A dreamer is only knowing the dream character in its dream world. Only knowing, not indulging in doership, not indulging in experiencership, not indulging in belief, not getting conditioned, not creating stories. The dreamer doesn't even have fear or desire. The dreamer quietly observes the dream character dancing to its own fears or desires of the dream world. The dreamer is only knowing. The dreamer does not create stories. It is only the waker who suddenly wakes up in the dream and then creates a story of fear and desire. When there is a story, there is suffering. When there is no story, there is no suffering. See the reality as it is. When you simply know with full attention, without judging, devoid of bias, devoid of prejudice, without getting involved at all, then there is no suffering at all. You go beyond suffering because it totally vanishes, disappears, dissolves into nothingness. This is your daily experience in the dream state. This is your own daily truth. Recognize it. Become aware about it. Acknowledge it. On the path of Swapna Nidra Jnana, the wise one draws a parallel between the waking state and dream state. Experientially, he recognizes that both are illusory, changing, impermanent, unsatisfactory, incapable of delivering any joy. When he recognizes this, he starts to implement lessons learned from one state into the other. Learn from your own dream state and apply the lesson to your waking state. Recognize that all the dream events, dream experiences get completely wiped off when they are simply known, when they are simply witnessed, when they are simply observed, devoid of prejudice, devoid of bias, devoid of indulgence. Recognize that only those dream events remain in memory where the dreamer transitions to the waker and creates stories. Stories are created by self-indulgence in biases, prejudices, beliefs, conditionings, and mind-made concepts. Do not even attempt to change anything about the illusory dream state. That would be doership. Simply learn from this and apply that in the waking state. Let's take an example. If you are hurt in the waking state, recognize that it is simply an image. You have a waking image of I, the person, and a waking image of my family member. In your image of I, the person, you have several sub-images of qualities of being a good person, compassionate, patient, helpful, loving, adorable, etc., etc. The image of the words from the family member went against your own image. This creates conflict. This is what you label as hurt. It is nothing but a story of experiencership created by you. There is simply a mismatch of images between you and your family member. The clash in the images is where you jump in and become the experiencer. Your further indulgence in the story only multiplies the images. That multiplication of images, one after the other, rapidly, unceasingly, storming you from every angle, that is suffering. So instead of indulging, Take inspiration from your own dream state. Take a step behind and be 100% attentive to the experience and the experiencer. Just being the witness, being 100% attentive, simply knowing, simply observing, acts like a black hole. The black hole sucks every experience and experiencer into nothingness. Then there is no suffering remaining because it is sucked into the nothingness of the black hole. See clearly, you are the black hole itself, and every experience and experiencer is inside you. They are not different from you. They are you. When you see this clearly, then peace ensues. That peace comes from the nature of nothingness, that every experience and every experiencer dissolves into. The material that nothingness is made up of is peace. Let every experiencer dissolve into that peace. Let every experience dissolve into that peace. As an Ajatavadan, it is your responsibility towards yourself to suck every experience along with its experiencer into the nothingness of the black hole. Irrespective of whether it is fear, anger, hatred, passion, lust, love, greed, fun, pain, injustice, comedy, tragedy, drama, thrill, suspense, violence, harmony, whatever the experience is. Let it disappear into the black hole of your own true self. then only knowledge remains. Keval Gyan, only knowledge. No hurt, no pain, no passion, no feelings, no drama. Keval Gyan, only knowledge. I am that knowledge. Knowledge is myself. The knowledge is not separate from me because that would imply duality. There is no two. I am knowledge itself. Keval Gyan, only knowledge. Keval Gyan, only knowledge.